You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, national insurance columnist and financial color commentator. And today, my special guest, #1 author on Amazon.com in finances, Tom Hegna, with his new book out, Paychecks and Playchecks.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. We're broadcasting live from the Fountain Hills, the home of the largest fountain in America. And with me today, special guest and author, Tom Hegna. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Great to be here.
It's great to be here. And let me tell you, this book, #1 in the financial sector of Amazon.com. I mean, Tom, you're all over the world. You speak all over the United States. You're one of the top requested speakers. And I have to ask you this question right off the top. How do you find time to write a book?
Yeah, well, and I'm a reluctant author. I never wanted to be an author, but I mean, it is hard to find time, but the basis of the book was my main platform talk at $1 Million Roundtable in Vancouver. And we took that talk and we just expanded it, made them into sections, into chapters, and then expanded each chapter, and that is really the basis of the book.
I think our producers would like to know this little trivia about you. I mean, really, you were an agent for years.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not just writing a book, pontificating from, the speaker platform or just an author, but you've lived this as a producer.
Well, I've been an agent, and I was a manager and national marketing manager and a senior executive officer for a Fortune 100 company. So I've kind of done the whole gamut, and I've learned a lot over those 25 years. And really that contains 25 years of my brain, my language, my stories.
Well, when I think about writing a book, it takes time.
Yep.
What's the inspiration, though? You're up in Vancouver, you're at this MDRT, but why did you say, okay, I'm a reluctant author, but I'm going to start writing this book?
Yeah, so the day I decided to write the book was, the day was April 4th of last year, 2011. I mean, and I remember that day because the Wall Street Journal came out. And on the front page of the Wall Street Journal was this article, and it said, Fed's low interest rates crack retirees' nest eggs. And this article was all about a guy by the name of Forrest Yeager, 91 years of age, down to his last $45,000, had it sitting in a CD earning less than 1%, sending him $300 a year, and he says, I'm not going to make it. I'm taking out principal, and I'm going to run out of money. And I'm reading this article, I said, doesn't Forrest know that he could go into almost any insurance company in America and be guaranteed 20% a year? His $45,000 would guarantee him $9,000 every year in almost any company's SPIA, a lifetime income annuity, for the rest of his life, but he didn't know. And I'll bet there were some advisors out there who didn't know that.
Well, I think what you just said would probably be controversial, even though it's obvious to you and me. We don't understand when we talk about lifetime income that you can't outlive. I mean, really, when you think about it. And we just said, well, did Tom just say 20% rate of return? No, that's not what he said.
Right.
He said to be able to pull off 20% of that money. Now, of course, we're talking about SPIAs. And I'm sorry, Tom, but most of our guys are selling income riders with indexed annuities or index life.
Right.
When I look at that, we're talking a little bit different here, and you talk about this issue in your book about optimizing.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, we talk about optimizing income, and look, I love variable annuities with the living benefit riders. I think index annuities with the living benefit riders have a place, but they're always going to be suboptimal to the SPIA due to the mortality credit issue, because the lifetime income annuity pays mortality credits at a much higher rate than what some of these income benefit riders.
Well, talk a little bit about mortality credits to bring us all up to speed. Why is that such an impact with single premium immediate annuities?
Well, here's why. I mean, I'll tell you, the reason I wrote this book is that right now, if a client were to sit down with 50 different financial advisors and say, how should I retire? They're going to get 50 different opinions. And so what I did is I went into the research. What did Dr. David Babel of Wharton say? What did Moshe Milevsky of Toronto say? What did Dr. Menachem Yari of Israel say? And I found there is an optimal way to retire, and the optimal way is due to mortality credits. And so this book is really not my opinion. This is the math and research, the math and science behind how to retire the optimal way. And mortality credits plays a big role in that.
Because when I think about the current interest rate crediting to single premium immediate annuities, it's about as bad as it's been since my 30 years being in this business.
Right.
So credits have to make up for some of this.
Yeah. So the older a person is, the less interest rates matter. A 90-year-old who's guaranteed 20% a year, what difference does the interest rate make? I mean, you could double the interest rates and it's hardly going to affect that paycheck at all. Somebody who's 50 or 55, the interest rates could have a much bigger impact long-term over their payout rate. So really, interest rates, if that's a concern, go older on the age scale and you'll take that concern away.
When you think about plotting a client's retirement, so that there is money always available, and it doesn't matter if this guy becomes the Guinness Book of World Records. I mean, we're thinking that gal died at 121, and we have about, I'm going to say 15 or 20. Last time I hit the net a couple weeks ago, about 15 or 20 girls, 115 years or older.
Right.
So this isn't outside our scope of thinking.
No, and people are living longer, and medical technology is coming. See, look, if I had to summarize the book, I'd summarize it this way. There's a lot of risks in retirement. There's market risk, there's withdrawal rate risk. Many people don't understand the order of return risk. There's inflation. You might need long-term care. You might die. But there's only one number one risk in retirement, and that number one risk is longevity. Because longevity is not just a risk, it's a risk multiplier of all the other risks. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you retired at age 65, and 3 years later you drop dead at 68. Does it matter if the market went down 40%? Does it matter if you were taking out 10% a year? No. Does it matter if you forgot to buy the long-term care policy? Nope, you didn't live long enough for it to matter. But if you live to be 85, 90, or 95, it's all those other risks that can wipe you out. So what math and science says is to retire the right way, you have to take longevity risk off the table. And there are only two optimal ways to do it. A lifetime income annuity, which we'd call a SPIA, or a deferred lifetime income annuity, which the industry would call longevity insurance. Those are the only two optimal ways to do it. Now, some of these living benefit riders, they can do it, but they would do it suboptimally because they don't pay the same level of mortality credits.
So if I'm comparing for a client the difference between a variable annuity income, an indexed income rider, and an SPIA, you're saying the SPIA, bang for the buck, because of the credits, is going to outperform.
In most cases, especially the older a person is.
I'm telling you, this is revolutionary because we think interest rates are so bad, we've pushed this off the table. When we come back from the next break, we're going to talk all about this. It's unbelievable. Remember, you can contact me on the show at thebiz@brokersalliance.com or call 1-800-290-7226. And don't forget to watch this show and all our shows on our on-demand section at www.brokersalliance.com. I'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Companies in our business are always touting service, products, and underwriting. And we do that too. But here's the difference. Now enter the world of the elite producer with a value package that cuts us out of the pack. A BD that approves social media marketing of non-FINRA products and doesn't take an override. With the best competition desk in the industry, and for our loyal producers, a true group health plan. No one offers that. Brokers Alliance does. Well, welcome back. We're with Tom Hegna today, and I know there's a lot of producers watching this first segment and saying, SPIAs, are you crazy? Well, I only bring people on here that are revolutionary in our thinking. Right. It shouldn't be revolutionary.
No.
But it is, but it is kind of, because really VA and indexed income riders rule the roost right now. Yeah. Remember, before you go forward with any of the things that we talk about on the show or the strategies, always check in with your compliance department, and of course any of the tax issues that we talk about today, always check in with your counsel and make sure that they're okay with what you're doing. Tom, when I'm talking about this book, a lot of books are popular. Yours went #1 in our financial venue of Amazon.com. Why is the public, we're trying to talk to our producers, but why is the public buying into this book?
Well, because people are scared. They don't know how to retire, and they ask 50 different people. They get 50 different opinions, and I've done a lot of advertising. I've done national TV commercials about the book as well, and I say this is the optimal way to do it. And the facts are that if you know somebody who's 65 years of age or older who doesn't own a SPIA, the math and science says they've retired suboptimally. Not me, the math and the science says they've retired suboptimally.
With all the advances going on in the United States today, and there are huge medical advances going on. And we're seeing numbers that we have never seen before. In fact, actually, I was just looking at some of the carriers' second to die policy claims. Well, the males on those policies, they're gone. They pretty much died pretty close to what the actuary said they're going to. But the women have just been blowing by the tables. And when we think about survivor benefits, we think about holding this paying out jointly.
Joint life.
Yeah, this is huge. I think the public is ready for this. After 2008, the risk threshold for baby boomers, I can only speak for myself, is zero.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and
that's where we're at.
And retirement used to be a thought of I got to build this pile of assets. Well, that's not what retirement is about. Retirement is really about two things. Number one, how much guaranteed lifetime income can you have? And number two, you've got to take certain risks off the table. Longevity risk is one of them, inflation risk is another, and long-term care risk is another. Those are key risks that you have to take off the table. So taking those risks and having guaranteed lifetime income is going to determine how successful you are in retirement.
I think people are surprised to find out that if I used an SPIA as my vehicle to defend against longevity risk, that there are some tax benefits to this.
Absolutely.
It's not just income for life,
No.
it's tax advantaged income for life.
And that's when, if you compare a SPIA income versus the deferred or the living benefit riders on an indexed annuity or variable annuity, as you take that money out, that's all taxable,
Right.
until you're through your gains. Whereas with the SPIA, you get the exclusion ratio, so you get highly tax favored income.
Now, to make sure we all know what that is, Tom, exclusion ratio. I know what it is,
Okay.
but let's just make sure all our producers listening.
So somebody's 75 years of age, they put in $100,000, and let's just say they're getting $9,000 a year. Maybe only about $2,000 of that would be taxable. The other $7,000 would be non-taxable because it's considered return of your own principal until your principal's gone, and then it would be fully taxable. But that normally takes 20, 25, 30 years before that principal is gone. So you get highly tax-advantaged income.
So really, when we're talking about not only income you can't outlive, we're talking about tax-advantaged income, and I like the idea of taking your basis, which generally we have to wait till the end game.
Yeah.
But in an SPIA, we're able to take it through the exclusion ratio. They usually amortize it right around the client's longevity expectation, their life expectancy. But I love this because now I'm getting guaranteed income I can't outlive. It has a tax advantage, and I'm getting my basis up front, not in arrears.
And it's the most efficient income vehicle out there. It's the Financial Research Corporation of Boston looked at it and they said there is no other investment vehicle that's more efficient at converting assets into income than the income annuity.
What about the gripe, though? And it's a legitimate concern. Once I engage the income scenarios of an SPIA, especially in life only,
Yep.
my asset is no longer liquid.
Okay.
What about that trade-off?
So here's what the research shows. The research shows that liquidity is not a one-time event, it's a lifetime event. And by using a lifetime income annuity to cover at least your basic expenses and optimizing the rest of that portfolio, you increase lifetime liquidity. And so the research shows that people who use a SPIA have more liquidity, not less. The advisors who use it have more assets under management, not less. And the clients leave more money to their families, not less. Which it's counterintuitive to what everybody thinks, but that is what the evidence shows.
That is counterintuitive, and that's why I want to make sure our listeners and attendees, and remember about 12-13% of our audience is retail. So when people are hearing this, they're saying, wow, I just don't think I've ever been approached on this before as a retirement alternative, when it shouldn't even be an alternative. It should be the number one thing we should look at first.
Right.
Talk a little bit about how do I approach my client now that I have it. Let's say I read your book. Let's say I buy into your timeline thinking, your longevity risk, you're actually defending against it. How do I approach my prospect, my client?
You got to put it in simple terms, and the cover of my book puts it in the most simple terms: paychecks and playchecks. You need a guaranteed paycheck for life, and then I'd argue, Steve, that in retirement you need a guaranteed playcheck. Now, why do I say that? Well, if I had to ask you what day of the week do you spend the most money, what day of the week do you go golfing, you go to Home Depot, ladies get their nails done, they get their hair done, it's probably on Saturday. Well, the day you retire, every day is Saturday. So you're not going to need just a guaranteed paycheck, you're going to need a guaranteed playcheck, and that's all a lifetime income annuity is a guaranteed paycheck or a guaranteed playcheck.
When I think about all the things that are happening in the market today, and we're trying to position our clients for the best possible retirement during their golden years, we're putting back on the table SPIAs, the forgotten annuity.
Absolutely.
And we're bringing it back, and in Tommy's own words, I love this, optimum retirement. Well, listen, you can watch this show and all our shows right here at the on-demand section at www.brokersalliance.com. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone with me, Steve Savant, the Business Insurance Zone.
The Business Insurance Zone is produced by Brokers Resources Audio Video Online, the media division of the National Insurance Clearinghouse, the marketing arm of Brokers Alliance. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.